Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the fourth week of online school. The first thing I want to do is take a look at a very good mistake that I saw happening and tried to clear up, but we still don't quite have it. And that is this question. You were asked to label these two angles, angle 1 and 2, and we still had a lot of people that said they were adjacent and vertical. And I want to clear this up because it is not possible for angles to be both vertical and adjacent. They cannot be both vertical and adjacent. And let me show you some examples to clear that up. So adjacent angles are angles that must be next to one another. Here are several examples. A lot of our examples were straight angles, but adjacent doesn't have to be 180. You can see in this example here that they are not 180, but they're just next to each other. And vertical then are angles in which there are, angles in which the angles are across from one another when two lines intersect. So looking at these two descriptions, you cannot have them both. So just wanted to clear up that. Now I want to take a look at some more lines and angles. So the first thing I want you to do is take a look at this diagram. Now line A is parallel to line B, but I want you to take a look at vertical angles. First of all, what do you know about vertical angles? Okay, very good. We know that vertical angles are angles in which they're across from each other and they are always congruent. All right, now what I'd like you to do is I would like you to take a look at the diagram and I would like you to name at least two pairs of vertical angles. All right, so you have probably noticed there are a lot more than two pairs. I came up with 8 pairs of vertical angles, 1 and 7, 2 and 8, 3 and 5, etc. So hopefully you came up with some of those. Another thing I would like you to notice in this diagram are straight angles. There are lots of them. What do you know about straight angles? All right, hopefully you remembered that straight angles form a straight line. So here, angle 4 and 3, for example, are examples of a straight angle. They are right next to each other and they form a 180-degree angle. Now looking at this diagram, please find at least one other pair besides angle 4 and angle 3, other pair of angles that make a straight angle. All right, hopefully you were able to name some of these pairs. They're the ones that are right next to each other in this diagram. Now let's look a little more closely at this diagram. We found some vertical angles, we found some straight angles. How is this diagram different than the diagram we looked at on Thursday? I mean, I know that we have parallel lines, so that's the thing that's the same. But this diagram is a little bit different. How is it different? Well, hopefully you said that it is different because instead of one transversal, there are 2 different transversals. C is a transversal and D is a transversal. Okay, now let's take a look at it a little more closely. On Thursday, we said that if we had parallel lines cut by a transversal, we could, if we knew one angle, find the measures of all the angles because we knew 4 of them were acute and 4 of them were obtuse, and all the acute angles were the same and all the obtuse angles are the same. So I want to know if you think we can do the same thing with this diagram. If we know just one angle, can we find all of the other angles? All right, let's give that a try. Let's say that the measure of angle 1 is 110 degrees. Can you find the measure of at least 2 other angles if you know that angle 1 is 110? Now, hopefully you were able to tell that angle 7 is a vertical angle with angle 1, so it's 110. And we know that when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, the other obtuse angles formed, so this obtuse angle and this obtuse angle, will also be 110. And we know that if we have a straight angle, so two angles that make a straight angle, we know that angle 1 and angle 2 are going to be 180. So if we take 180 and we subtract 110, we know that so the measure of angle 2 is 70. And then of course 8 is vertical to that angle 2, so it's 70. And down here all of the other acute angles are also 70. So we've got these 8 angles. Now we've got a problem because this transversal doesn't have anything to do with this transversal over here. So I think I'm going to need some more information. So to proceed, we're going to need the measure of another angle. Let's say that the measure of angle 5 over here is 41 degrees as marked. Now, please take a moment to find at least 2 other angles. So angle 3 is also going to be 41 because it's vertical angle directly across from it. Those are acute angles, so with this transversal, all the acute angles will be the same. So angle 13 is the acute angle with that transversal, and angle 11. So those are all 41. Now angle 4 and angle 3 make 180. So if we take 180 minus 41, we're going to have 139. That makes angle 4 139. Angle 6 is also 139 because all the obtuse ones are the same. And angle 12 and 14. Okay, are we done? Uh-oh. What about angle 17? It doesn't have anything to do with these other angles. So what are we going to do? Any ideas? So the question that we are wrestling with now is, what is the measure of angle 17? All right, we need some more information. Did you have an idea? Well, it turns out that these 3 angles form a triangle, right? And what do we know about the 3 angles of a triangle? That's right. The sum of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So that means that in this triangle, we can add 41 degrees plus 70 degrees plus, let's give this an x. Let's call this x. We don't know what it is. X has to equal 180. There's an equation we can use to solve. All right, let's solve the equation. 41 plus 70 is 100. 41 plus 70 is 111 degrees plus x. Then we'll have to subtract 111 from both sides of our equation, and we will get x equals 69 degrees. So the measure of angle 17 is 69 degrees because we have a triangle that's 180. All right, so we did find that we needed a little more information, but just 2 angles gave us everything we needed to know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, up next is your seesaw assignment. So you will complete that. I think there are 2 problems, but each one has a couple angles to find. You can always rewind and rewatch this video if you need some examples. Help sessions, 9 to 11, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can find the Google Meet link in your Google Classroom. Please come and see me or email me. And then finally, we will have an assessment on lines and angles on Thursday. All right, go ahead to your homework.